there's a lot of supposed experts saying the president gave up this, gave up that. From where you sit, Kevin, what did the supreme leader give up for North Korea?
Well, I think that this is a North Korea regime that is facing a dire economic situation, to put it mildly. And I think that when more than 90% of its economic exports and imports are tied to China, and the sanctions that were placed on North Korea, the president making the case just in his press conference that the rhetoric of the fire and fury comments brought North Korea to the negotiation table. Democrats will disagree with that. The president also said something interesting that should be noted, and that is that he would like to see congressional approval. That would mean that he would need congressional ratification of any type of longer-term treaty he signs. And maybe a treaty is coming when Kim Jong-un visits the White House in the future.
Right, but Kevin, you could also argue that actually the president didn't give up that much because, as he reiterated with the G7 and his relationship with Justin Trudeau, is one day they were friends, and then he believes that yes, Justin Trudeau gave a news conference behind his back saying that they weren't going to be bullied by the U.S., and suddenly things turned. So is this not how the president operates? What exactly did the U.S. give up?
President Trump not taking the bait in terms of making an equivalency between Canada and North Korea, but he did double down in his rhetoric against Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau on the issue of trade, and also at one point targeting German Chancellor Angela Merkel. This is a president, and even China to some extent, this is a president who left the G7 very, very frustrated with what Prime Minister Trudeau said, and we're nearing the end and really the finality of what will come of NAFTA. So the president making that case in terms of where trade is headed and doubling down, not backing down, but also making a distinction that the issue of trade and denuclearization talks are two separate things.
Right, but Kevin, what I'm trying to basically understand is, given the president's temperament and what we've seen of him in the past, could he turn on North Korea quite quickly?
Yes, he could. And we saw that with the Iran nuclear disarmament deal. We saw with the unpredictability in terms of this very meeting in Singapore, which nobody knew would even happen. We saw with the cancellation of it, it's back on, it's back off. I think from the administration's perspective, that level of unpredictability they try to sell as an asset. His critics would say it hurts him. But that level of unpredictability could very well, all of the positiveness, the positive steps that they're going to argue occurred, they could say, hey, scratch that out. It's irrelevant. And it was very interesting to watch that video that they played just before the press conference started, that they showed to North Korea chairman, as they're now referring to him, Kim Jong-un, on an iPad, saying this could be your future, but the choice is yours. That choice, the president's saying, is ultimately going to be decided by the chairman himself.